And once I did that, once I thought about it that way, it was immediately obvious to me.
Jeff Bezos wants to live his life without regret. He says he wants to be able to look back at his life at age 80 and know that he didn't miss an opportunity because he was scared. Too often, he says, people miss chances to do something big because they're scared and they don't want to fail. But to him, not trying is a bigger failure than putting yourself out there and failing for real. He knows that you can at least know in your heart you tried and not live with the regret of never giving it a chance. He also believes that in order to be happy, he must find what he calls a work-life harmony. Being happy in either place helps to benefit the other. When we're happy at home, we can come to work and are a better colleague or boss. When we're happy at work, we can come home and we're a better spouse or parent. When working in harmony, they can help you to become a better version of yourself.
We have built over 20 years, we have built $840 billion of wealth for other people.
Jeff stresses that if you want to save your business, you must not be afraid of failure. The culture of Amazon to invent and pioneer comes with a lot of risk. He accepts that risk and understands the many ideas that they have may fail, but also knows that in that risk, there may be the next great idea. Let yourself be able to experiment and see what happens, he says. And he wants people to remember that if you know what will happen before an experiment takes place, then it's not an experiment. Let yourself try things that you don't know what the outcome will be. These are the moments that greatness can occur, but only if we accept the risk that comes along with it.
You have to be super clear about what kind of company you're trying to build, what your approach is.
And I think for me, the right way to make that kind of very personal decision, because those decisions are personal, they're not like data-driven business decisions. They are, what does your heart say? And for me, best way to think about it was to project myself forward to age 80 and say, look, when I'm 80 years old, I want to have minimized the number of regrets that I have. I don't want to be 80 years old in a quiet moment of reflection, thinking back over my life and cataloging a bunch of major regrets. And I think that regrets, our biggest regrets in most cases, but in most cases, our biggest regrets turn out to be acts of omission. It's paths not taken, and they haunt us. I didn't do this, and so that's the frame of mind that I put myself in. And once I did that, once I thought about it that way, it was immediately obvious to me. I knew that when I'm 80, I would never regret trying this thing that I was super excited about and failing. If it failed, fine. I would be very proud of the fact when I'm 80 that I tried. And I also knew that it would always haunt me if I didn't try. And so that would be a regret. It would be a 100% chance of a regret if I didn't try, and basically a 0% chance of regret if I tried and failed. My view is I don't even like the phrase work-life balance. I think it's misleading. I like the phrase work-life harmony, because I know that if I am energized at work, happy at work, feeling like I'm adding value, part of a team, whatever energizes you, that makes me better at home. It makes me a better husband, better father, and likewise, if I'm happy at home, it makes me a better employee, better boss, all the things. It's not primarily about, there may be crunch periods where it's about the number of hours in the week, but that's not the real thing. Usually it's about, do you have energy? And is your work depriving you of energy, or is your work generating energy for you?
And I think that is true for most businesses, where you kind of proceed adaptively. It's step by step. You figure it out. You have a success, and then you kind of double down on that success, and you figure out what else you can do, what customers want. Everything we've done and all the success we have is at its root primarily due to the fact that we have put customers first. If you start to think that way, it changes how you spend your time, how you plan, where you put your energy, and your ability to look around corners gets better. So many things improve if you can take a long-term. By the way, it's not natural for humans. So it's a discipline that you have to build. Start to become overly cautious, kind of failure averse, and therefore unable to invent and pioneer. You cannot invent and pioneer if you cannot accept failure. To invent, you need to experiment. And if you know in advance that it's going to work, it is not an experiment. And so that's a very important thing. They are inseparable twins, failure and invention. And so you have to be willing to do that. And it's embarrassing to fail. It's incredibly hard to get people to take bold bets. And you need to encourage that. And if you're going to take bold bets, they're going to be experiments. And if they're experiments, you don't know ahead of time whether they're going to work. Experiments are by their very nature prone to failure. But big successes is a few big successes compensate for dozens and dozens of things that didn't work. So, Bold Bets, AWS, Kindle, Amazon Prime, our third-party seller business, all of those things are examples of bold bets that did work, and they pay for a lot of experiments. That would be terrific, but that's not how it works. Those numbers are output measures, and I guess you could try to manage your quarterly earnings very precisely, but I think personally that would be a mistake. Most of the work that we put into any particular quarter happened years ago. So it's not, there aren't that many knobs you can turn during a quarter. You can, but they're like eating your seed corn if you turn those knobs. You don't want to do that. I think if you focus on the controllable inputs to your business instead of the outputs, in the long term, you get better results.